the Desk Alchemist from Desk Gaming Entertainment. Today I'm going to be doing a really quick review on one of the PlayStation Plus games of the month, Infamous First Light. Now I'm going to be reviewing this as both a game and as DLC since Sucker Punch Studios DLC can be played without the original game, so it's more like a miniature version of the original game, Infamous Second Son. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to fool around while doing it. So basically I'm going to get started, and basically I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the different things that this game has hit correctly, and some of the things that that could have focused or done better as DLC. The original Second Son game was honestly really nice. It had a combat system, an open world, as well as incredible visuals, which the DLC has, you know, just as much. It's pretty much, it's not lacking in any of those departments. It's cut from the same exact cloth, and it's not really missing anything that the original game didn't have. But what it seeks to do is it expands on one of the characters, Fetch Walker, who is the gothy looking girl that I'm right now. Say hello, Fetch. And she controls the power of Neon, which basically means she can run super fast, she can shoot lasers, she can do a lot of interesting stuff. And basically it goes ahead and tries to add in another, it shows the preview of what Fetch's life was before she met Delsin in Second Son. And it shows what happened that turned her into what she was today, and the way it's told is through her days at Curtin K, which is the holding facility for conduits. And basically she is detained. She is explaining her life to the head of the facility, and it's doing flashbacks from what she was, it's doing flashbacks from the actual story to current day training as she tests out her powers at interesting little like she has these little battle facilities that you can participate in the game, which is a really interesting mode that the original game didn't have. They probably could have made this DLC in and of itself, like a $2 DLC as an extra game mode. It's basically just a little thing that you can go ahead and run around, kill enemies in the form of waves, and you try and survive as long as you can. But basically, it's an this game is an add-on to the original story in the form of her telling her stories in between training here and just you're fighting in the past as Fletch in the story she's telling. And it's basically the story of how her brother died. And as usual, and the difference between this and the original game is that Infamous Second Son had an emphasis on moral choices. You could choose to be a good guy, or you could choose to be a bad guy. But you'd save an innocent, or you could kill an innocent. There are no such choices with Fletch, since her story is already locked in, it's concrete. So there are no choices to be made. You're playing as her, and you're watching the events unfold as her. So it doesn't have as much of that fun scenario, but that's okay since Second Son basically kept everything sort of black and white in the first place. There wasn't too much to really gain from the choices, because it was either kick the puppy or give the puppy $1 million. Those were the choices that you could make in Second Son. So when they don't do that in this game, it's not necessarily a loss. So the storytelling itself is fine. There are some problems I have with it. It's a little bit cliche. You can see a ton of stuff coming, but the story is really nice. The way it presents, like the final scene and the final fight, it's really nice. Though there's problems with the fact that this game doesn't actually have a final boss. This DLC, this little mini thing, there pretty much is no final boss. It is sort of it's like a chase scene. I'm gonna let that much slip. And it's definitely emotional, but there's no actual final boss fight, and that's kind of disappointing. I bet a lot of people were hoping for it, but that just doesn't really show up. There's no really bosses in this DLC. So basically what the main attraction of it, it would have to be the storyline that is told, which I already told you a little bit about. So, the question is it worth getting for normal price. I got it on PlayStation Plus for the month, so I was really happy when that happened. So basically, there's a combination. I told you about the storyline. I told you about the differences. The last difference to be made is the actual combat. And combat is basically the same controls. Basically, if you have it's the same neon light power that Delta has. Except since she's the original host for it, it's much more detailed and specific. And an interesting factor is that it actually feels like all of Delson's powers combined into the neon category, which I wasn't expecting. It has, example, in Delson's abilities, if he has video power, he can do this. It's a non-stop firing Gatling gun of energy, which he can't use when he does neon. It's a single shot attack, but she can do it just as normal. If you can do so much with this one power, and earnestly, the fact that she's so easy to use makes me feel that she's much more powerful than Delson, because you can actually, if you have the original game, which I do, you can play Delson in this battle arena mode. And basically it's so much easier to use her than Delson, even down to the things like their supers, the karmic events, which I'm going to show you real quick. She just feels so much more powerful than Delson when you're playing as her. And it's just so weird because you don't see that in the original game. So it really really fleshes out Fletcher's character. It's wonderful, but also ironically it pokes out a lot of flaws in the original game when you compare the two. So I don't really have much more to say. It's simple, add-on DLC that tells the story. You don't have Second Son and you want to go ahead and maybe get a try on what the gameplay is like, go ahead and download this just go ahead and get a PlayStation Plus card for the month. Go ahead and download this, play it. You'll get this for free if you're a PlayStation Plus member. And the combat's pretty much exactly the same. She just has a different neon set of powers, so if you end up liking this game, go ahead and get Second Son if you want to. As far as a final score, I'd have to give this DLC, because I'm creating it as DLC and a game at once, since it really sort of is a combination of the two. I'd give it a nice 8.4. For $15, this story is sort of quick. DLC, you end up sort of redoing the zone capture thing with no benefit, but it's definitely worth a play. And it's an easy platinum game. I thought it wouldn't have a platinum trophy, but I went ahead, I was looking at the trophy list and noticed it actually had one. And I banged the whole thing out in a single night, so it's definitely worth a play. If you're a trophy whore like me, you can go ahead and get a really quick, really easy platinum trophy out of it. So I would definitely recommend it. If you have PlayStation Plus, there's no reason not to go ahead and at least try it. It's a very beautiful game. The voice actress does a very nice job. The combat's wonderful. And worse comes to worse, you can just spend some time doing the endless battling function right here. So go ahead, try out the game. Thank you for watching my video. Like and subscribe down below if you'd like, and have a good one.